Becky. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a weekly reset for homeschool. I really love reset videos and I watch them. I have a couple of different content creators that I watch here on YouTube. They do it every single month. And I've done a few for like the seasons and stuff. So I thought it would be really fun to show you a homeschool reset after a week. A couple things that I try to do on Friday, routines that I try to build and try to stick with, which are hard, especially as the homeschool year goes on, but things that I try to do every Friday to wrap the week up and get ready for a new week and not really have to think about homeschooling on the weekend, because I really don't want to have to think about it on the weekend, and I really don't want to have to spend any time on the weekend doing anything to get ready for a new school week. So these are just a few things that I do to try to reset our homeschool, give us a couple days of the weekend to relax, and then come back fresh and ready to go on Monday. So if you want to see my ideal weekly homeschool routine reset, then stay tuned. So the first thing I do on Friday, try to make sure I do on Friday, I should say, after she's done with her school, is she turns everything in the grading bin, and I try to make sure that I grade it on Friday. Of course, this is the ideal weekly reset routine. So there have been times, and I know there will be times, when I don't get it done on Friday, and if I don't do it over the weekend, I have it kind of looming over my head Monday morning before we start school. So I try really hard not to let that happen. So trying to make it a habit, be consistent, and getting back into the routine of grading her school every Friday after she's done with it, after she turns it in, so that it's all ready to go for Monday. And I have this sorter that I have been using for years and years now. Basically, as I grade her work, anything that needs to be corrected with me, I put in this bin, and then this is basically just like extra, like supplementary things, but it just says upcoming. So if I put, like, you know, sometimes I go ahead and just assign her an extra practice of like time or multiplication or measuring or whatever we might want to work on. That goes here. If I have any special projects coming up that I want to do, I would put that in there, you know, just to kind of keep it a little bit out of the way, but it's accessible to me. I know where it is when I'm going to look for it. And then obviously the review correct section is where anything she's made mistakes goes in there, and then I just have an empty one down here at the bottom. But this sorter came from Dollar Tree. It's a little bit janky, so I did actually hot glue all these together, and it's been working really well for us now for quite a few years. So I'm going to sit down and grade all her work so that that'll be ready and fresh for her on Monday. Something I have shared with you guys in the past is my master grading binder. This binder has the answer key to every workbook that we have, except for the BJU Press history. They come with like their own separate answer key, and there's no holes. I'm not gonna like rip all those pages out and put them in here. So this one kind of is separate. But everything else that she does, all of her workbooks, which a lot of her subjects are in a workbook, I put in this binder. I have them divided up here with little tabs, and it makes it just the easiest for me to grade everything in one place. I also have our attendance here in the front so that I can keep track of how many days we've done so far, what breaks we have coming up, so that kind of goes in the front. But this binder has really been a lifesaver and makes my life a lot easier. So another thing that I do as I'm grading is fill out this lesson plan for the next week. So if you guys have followed my channel for a while, you know that I do not lesson plan weeks in advance, no more than a week in advance, definitely not. And this little sheet has been something we've used the last couple years. It's just something I made on Word. So it's really easy to change as the years, you know, as things change throughout the year, and I have done. But essentially it stayed the same, where it's just blank like this, and then I fill in the dates, or she likes it with the date and the day up here at the top. So as I'm grading, I am usually lesson planning for the next day or maybe the next couple days. So like right here, she'd made a mistake on page 2 of her history workbook. So as I was grading that, I marked it wrong in the book, and then I wrote correct page 2 and then do page 7, which is her new assignment for Monday. If she would have made a mistake here in reading, I would have said, you know, correct page 14 and do page 15. So that's how I'm grading, but also lesson planning for the next day. And sometimes I'll go ahead, especially with science, the curriculum we use is really easy just to go ahead and write 13 through 14, 14 through 15. I try not to do that a whole lot just in case something comes up and we end up having to skip a day. But that's what's really helpful to do this at my desk, because I have my calendar up here on the wall. I'm able to look at it at a glance and say, okay, you know, Wednesday they have dentist appointments, so chances are we're not going to get to every subject on Wednesday. Or Friday they have an activity to go to, so chances are we're not going to have a full day on Friday. So days like that I definitely won't plan in advance, but for the most part I can usually do this and kind of go through a day or two in advance and just kind of get a general idea of not just the mistakes that she needs to correct, but also what she's going to be doing that day. And then every week, every Friday, I print this out for the next week. So that's been working out really well for us. It's my way of lesson planning without actually having to lesson plan, because I used to find when I lesson planned weeks in advance, something would go wrong, we wouldn't get to finish, and then the whole thing would be thrown off, and that drove me insane, and it wasted a lot of my time. So doing it like this, a day or two, maybe even at most a week at a time at most, has really been the best option for us. So after I grade everything, I put it up on her desk for her to put away, and as you can see, she's got some other stuff on her desk that needs to be put away. She leaves the flowers and stuff out sometimes, and these little decor pieces and stuff, but she's got like a glass of water and some art supplies in her purse. So I will try to make sure that she cleans her desk off on Friday after school, after I've graded, put everything away, so that when we come back in the schoolroom on Monday to start a new week, it's fresh and we're not like playing pickup and like putting things away. That does happen sometimes. I'm not going to say it doesn't. That's why this video is an ideal weekly reset for homeschool, because sometimes things like that don't happen, and definitely as the school year wears on, we do get more and more and more out of routine. So it's something that we're constantly working on, trying to make sure that we do and that we keep up with. But ideally and preferably, that will be done on Friday, so that we do come back on Monday, we don't feel like we're playing catch up from the week before. Also, side note, we have a new class pet. We've had kind of a rough year as far as pets go. We actually lost Ducky and Bean, our guinea pig, who has been our little classroom pet for the last 5 years. So actually last week, we got a new family member, and we're still working on setting up her cage and everything. But this is Piper. She is a lop-eared bunny, and she is super, super sweet. We're getting to know her still at this point, getting ready to start litter training for her, hopefully, so she can be out and around the house more, run around the schoolroom. But this is her, and she's in the same spot that Bean was in. If you have followed my channel for a while, she lives here in the schoolroom. Ignore the towels, her cage is wet, and we had to fill this little hole up because she kept going back there and not coming back out. So we've got to figure out how to kind of keep her out of that little section that we don't want her in. So in the meantime, it's crammed with books, which is super aesthetic, but she's really sweet. And like I said, we're working on her cage, trying to get everything set up. If you know anything about lop-eared bunnies, I would appreciate your advice. For one thing, she does not like to drink out of her water bottle. She only wants to drink out of a bowl, which is a little bit problematic because she drinks a lot of water, and especially if we're gone or we're going out of town, I really want her to drink out of her water bottle. So, and I know she was drinking out of a water bottle in the pet store, so I don't really understand why she's not drinking out of that. And I'm afraid if I take the bowl out and kind of force her to drink out of that, like, is she gonna not drink at all? So you guys let me know. But she's a new addition to our life and our homeschool room this year, and hopefully for years to come. So I thought I would show you guys her as well.